One of the biggest question marks surrounding the Boruto TBV VORTEX manga is information on the newest SHINJU clone. This SHINJU clone in particular was said to be a clone of SHINKI, Gaara's adoptive son. It was reported by Conquerdo that the SHINJU has started making their way into other hidden villages. It's just unfortunate enough that Tsunagakure was next on that list. Gaara and SHINKI genuinely being their best fighters, you can tell the fight didn't last too long. Now, I'm not saying they're weak by any means, but going against one of the strongest villains the series has ever seen, you gotta understand how much of a disadvantage they're at. And that pretty much goes for anyone, to be honest. And plus, they had no intel on the SHINJU or their abilities, so it was almost like they're going into this fight blind. I mean, of course they had no chance of winning. From the looks of it, it looks like the SHINJU attacked Tsunagakure, then either SHINKI or Gaara started fighting with them. The other probably tried to join in the fight and got completely stopped. Maybe SHINKI got caught trying to protect Gaara, or maybe Gaara tried to protect SHINKI from the SHINJU, but gotten badly injured trying to do so. But nevertheless, the SHINJU named Ryu was born. But who is he after? What are his abilities? How strong is this SHINJU exactly? Let's find out together. So of course, before we start this banger of a video, I want to kindly ask all my loyal and faithful subscribers if you would just take a second out of your busy day, because I'm pretty sure you're annoyed of hearing this as much as I'm annoyed saying it, but if you could leave a quick like on the video, please do, because it genuinely helps me out a ton in the YouTube algorithm. It helps us small creators get some recognition, so every like is appreciated. But I have nothing else to say. Let's hop right into the video. So the newest SHINJU was officially revealed in the latest chapter after being teased in KASHIN Koji's vision from his SHINJUTSU ability. Many people, including myself, thought that since the timeline was altered some way somehow from the original, maybe this would affect which SHINJU would emerge next chapter. But as we can see, that simply was not the case. So I'll just take my L on that one, not gonna lie. So first, let's look at some potential targets for the SHINKI clone. Every one of the SHINJU have a specific target. This target is usually someone very close to that person, or it could be someone of interest. For example, Sasuke's SHINJU clone's target was Sarada Uchiha, Sasuke's daughter. Moegi's SHINJU clone's target was Konohamaru, someone she been very close to and worked together with since their early days at the academy. We see the Bug clone has taken interest in Ada. Now, this is where I say the interest takes place. Bug isn't really close to Ada, besides being there when she was first awakened by Code. So you see what I mean by either them being attached by love, a close connection, or simply interested in them. There could be another outlying force that could be the determining factor of who they choose as a target too. Because in JURA's case, who isn't a prototype of anyone like the other SHINJU, he was interested in devouring Naruto at first. But when he was nowhere to be found, he turned his attention to Himawari. I think in JURA's case, he was mainly interested in Naruto because he thought the Nine Tails was still inside of him. So I always wondered, is it the Nine Tails that's really its target, or was it Naruto himself? And it does make sense because we know JURA is the direct reincarnation of the Ten Tails. So it would make sense that he would want to devour another part of him. But if that was the case, wouldn't he want to devour every part of him, 1 through 9? Or maybe he just wants to devour the strongest tailed beast other than himself, which is Kurama. So there is a mystery behind the targets, but for now, as far as the story goes, we'll just look at how close a connection that person has to SHINKI. However, there's a little problem with that. If we look at the manga, there isn't much we can go off of to properly predict who the SHINKI clone could target. SHINKI just hasn't shown any interest in anyone, especially not his opponents. His character is more or less focused on just trying to please Gaara, or prove he's just above everyone else. I'd say this is a perfect chance to look at some anime canon content. He's shown way more in the anime, and his character is easier to analyze. He's also had way more fights and screen time, even was included in a whole nother arc, other than the tuning exams. I already know some people may look at me crazy when I say anime canon. I understand, just relax. Anyone that's been watching this channel for a while already knows how I think anime canon could impact the manga. It's more or less about the foreshadowing opportunities that it presents. I made a ton of videos on the topic, but one of my favorite scenarios is the Boruto versus Code battle. It's very similar to how Boruto versus Deepa went. Now when looking at anime canon, it's not to be taken at face value. Let's break it down in much simpler terms. Boruto developing a brand new Rasengan, way more powerful than any other Rasengan that was previously in his arsenal, and using this new Rasengan to defeat a Kara member. Or how about this little picture of Boruto holding a Minato playing card? Then out of nowhere, Boruto is just casually using the Flying Raja technique. And trust me, there's many more examples. But to not ramble on a topic that has nothing to do with the premise of the video, I'll stop there. But what I will do is leave a link down below in the description to a video of mine where I go in depth with that. So when we take a deep dive at Shinki's character, as far as the anime goes, we see he can potentially have a few targets, as some I already heard throughout the community, like Mitsuki, Boruto, of course Gaara, his father, and a rather unexpected one in Kawaki. Now first, let's take a look at Mitsuki. Of course they fought back in the tuning exams, and they never finished their fight because Mitsuki wasn't able to go into Sage mode, which he knew he would need to beat Shinki. It's not that he couldn't go into Sage mode, it's just that he wasn't allowed to, because Orochimaru stated that he wouldn't be able to stay in Konoha if he did. The fact that Mitsuki had Sage mode would raise too many questions and suspicions about his background. But you can tell from the fight there was a mutual interest between both of them. They both wanted to finish the battle, but Mitsuki just wasn't willing to go all out. Of course, if the manga chooses to go this route, they would probably give a different reason as to why Mitsuki was being targeted by the Shinki clone. But like I said earlier with anime canon, this would of course foreshadow a fight between the two. And with the fight, this would fit perfectly into the story. It's not much to this fight scenario, but Shinki just finding Mitsuki interesting because of his hidden power that he wasn't able to show in the tuning exams. But when we look at someone like Boruto, you can make more of a case. Of course Boruto fought Shinki in the tuning exams and beat him using a scientific ninja tool. You can make a case for this being the trigger for Boruto being a target. But if you think Boruto could have a chance at being targeted, it would have been during the battle against Ishiki, or more like that whole entire mission, where they had way more time being together. They also battled together, and you could tell they have a small rivalry between them going on. Although I don't think Boruto would be a target because of him being an Otsutsuki. So far, all of the Shinju seem to target non-Otsutsuki, and it might be because of their evolution process being changed due to their awakened awareness. But all I'm saying is that if Boruto was to be targeted, I think it would have to do with the natural interest Shinki has regarding Boruto's power that he displayed during the tuning exams and Yurishiki mission. I have to say, even though I took the time to cover it, I don't think the Shinki clone would exactly target Boruto because of that, especially since he has way more in common with Kawaki anyway. Even though these two only interacted like once in an anime to my knowledge, in that one interaction, he's shown twice as much interest in Kawaki than Boruto. I mean, first of all, they're both adopted children to one of the 5 Kage, in which they deeply love and appreciate because of it, and more or less carry the same demeanor. Something like what you see on the screen seems very subtle. Some may think it was unnecessary, but like I said, if Kawaki is targeted, people will automatically come back to the scene and try to analyze it to see the interaction between the two of them. I mean, it wasn't really nothing to analyze for real. It's just that Shinki felt Kawaki was disrespecting the tuning exams by leaving early while the matches were still in play. He wanted to show Kawaki that, yeah, you aren't all that, and I could defeat you with a one-hand tie behind my back, so don't get too big of an ego. And he proceeded to do just that. But I guess if the Shinju aren't particularly targeting Otsutsuki for some odd reason, possibly to continue evolving differently than usual, then Kawaki would be in the same scenario as Boruto. So it's very unlikely that Boruto or Kawaki would be targeted. But apart from being a target, this fight, along with the Mitsuki fight, could also foreshadow a potential battle between the Shinki clone and Kawaki, in which Kawaki probably loses again. Same with Mitsuki. Maybe he won't be targeted directly, but he'll have to fight the Shinki clone and in Sage mode at that. So Boruto, Kawaki, and Mitsuki all have a case to be targeted by the Shinki clone. However, I still feel nobody has a case as clear as Gaara does for being the target. Like Gaara, Shinki was a rather lonely child. unable to make friends, and abandoned because of the uncontrollable power he possessed. Gaara took him in and showed him the love that he wished he was shown when he was a child. You could tell how grateful Shinki was because of this. Through his undying loyalty to his father and the need to make him proud, both in the anime and manga, you can make a huge case that Gaara will no doubt be the target for the new Shinki clone. Of course, the interest Shinki may have towards Boruto, Kawaki, or Mitsuki is a factor and shouldn't be ignored. It can't hold a candle to the deep-rooted love that Shinki has for Gaara. Similar to how Kawaki loves Naruto. I mean, if Kawaki was a Shinju, he would for sure target Naruto, no doubt. It's because the feelings he has towards Naruto is the strongest out of anyone he knows. And from what we've seen already by the other Shinju's target, this deep love qualifies as a way for the Shinju to target someone. But yeah, Gaara is definitely going to be the target, which means we could potentially not only see Gaara for the first time in 2 Blue Vortex, but also see a battle between the Iron Sand and Gaara Sand. Gaara's not winning that one, I'm sorry. And I don't even think that's a hot take. Nobody has Gaara actually beating one of the Shinju. It's not possible. But depending who Shikamaru sends to Tsunagakure to help out on the situation, let's say he sends Boruto down there to fight the Shinju away, along with maybe Sarada or someone to tag along, the fight could become a little bit more interesting. And here, maybe we'll see more of Boruto fighting against the Iron Sand, in which he uses the Purple Lightning ability to either defeat the Shinju and save Shinki, or make it retreat for the time being, one of the two. And again, another form of foreshadowing from the anime if it proves to be the case. I would hate for Boruto to just use Uzuhiko to deal with all of his problems. You want him to switch it up here and there just for entertainment purposes. You know what I mean? But let me know what you guys think. Who will the Shinki clone target, and how will the Sand handle this problem with the Shinju? Will the first target finally get devoured, or will Shinki become the first person to be saved from his tree-like state? Like always, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. It shows me you like my content and is interested in seeing more. And comment down below your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get notified whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And of course, until my next video, I'll catch y'all boys and girls later. And I'm out. Peace.